Hey there, my name is Leo Henschker and I am the CTO here at Column, and welcome to The Brief. The Brief is an opportunity for us to tell you all about some of the most exciting things that we've done over this past quarter and really over this past year here at Column. And in particular, it's fun for me as the CTO because it's our chance to talk about some of the most exciting technical features that we've shipped from our product and development teams to help us better serve you all, our users. So today we're going to be talking about how you can optimize your workflow in Column if you're an enterprise publisher to better fit your unique needs. We're going to be talking about how you can build better relationships with your city and county officials with additional servicing options that we've built for our government users. We're also going to be talking about how press association partners of ours are using the Column API to help keep newspapers in public notice, keep public notice in newspapers. And next, we're going to be talking about how to bring the next generation of public notice placement through first of its kind integration for high volume customers. So to kick things off, I'm going to pass things over to Megan here, who is our group product manager, to share updates on some of our new features. Megan, please take it away.
Thanks, Leo. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan, and at Column, we believe that self-service notice placement should be the standard for any paper. With the technology available today, there's no need to email PDFs and Word documents back and forth to put a notice in the paper. Column is proud to have built an easy and simple notice placement system. And since our launch, we've created a powerful tool for publishers to manage their customers and organize their day-to-day workflow. So today, I'm going to share how you can configure settings for your customers, filter the notice table to surface time-sensitive tasks, easily place the same notice in related newspapers, and stay up to date on the latest information with new notifications. Working support, one of the most common requests we've heard is that newspapers want more control over customer settings for organizations and individual advertisers. So for the first time, the customers page includes not just individuals, but also organizations. This long-awaited functionality allows publishers to see which customers actually belong to the same organization on Column. For newspapers with integrations, you can set internal IDs to make sure notices sync to the right accounts. And you can require upfront payment or set up monthly invoicing for the whole organization. With this, we aim to empower publishers to make changes to their customer settings more efficiently and with less help from Column support. Next, we're delighted to introduce a powerful new feature to your notice table. You can now filter your notice table results by notice confirmation, invoice status, affidavit status, and publication date range. So let's say you want to follow up with advertisers for unpaid invoices for notice that published last month. You can filter for those relevant notices. If you're looking to narrow your results to a specific advertiser or notice text, you can use a keyword search in tandem with those filters. For those who use the All Organization view to see notices across related newspapers, this particular feature allows you to quickly find the notices that need your follow-up. In the last brief, we introduced a feature for duplicating notices, an easy way to place the same notice without starting from scratch. But for legals reps who manage notices across multiple papers, we learned that this feature could be more valuable if publishers could select a different newspaper when placing a notice. Now you're able to do just that. If I'm a legals rep with access to San Mateo Weekly and the Belmont Observer, I can select either newspaper in the placement flow without having to toggle to a specific organization view to place in that paper. Let's say you need to run the same notice in multiple newspapers. You would duplicate the first notice and select a different newspaper while placing its copy. We know that as your operations centralize, we want to make placing notices across multiple newspapers easier. And lastly, we've redesigned our in-app notifications to be more action-oriented. Before, your in-app notifications lacked important details that actually made them useful. Now, when you click on the notifications bell in the top right corner of Column, a panel will slide open showing all of your notifications and any team invites. Each notification will include important details, such as the notice name and event description. so that when you click on the notification, you'll be navigated to the notice details page to take that next step. All right, I've said a lot, but to recap, you can now change customer settings for individuals and organizations. You can filter the notice table to surface important information. You can easily toggle between newspapers when placing a notice, and you can stay informed with action-oriented notifications. To learn more about these new features and our latest improvements, check out the What's New section of our Help Center at help.column.us. Next, we're going to take a look at some of the new and innovative service offerings for our users beyond placing notices.
Cities, towns, counties, law firms.
Hi everyone, I'm Frances and I'm an account executive here at Column. Column began with the idea that we could help publishers and their customers spend less time placing notices in papers. In building this tool, we've learned that there are many other pain points surrounding the public notice system. Next, we're going to dive in on some of the expanded offerings available for publishers and government users. We know that getting a notice to print is only half the battle. What comes after, the affidavits, is where some of the most time-consuming and inefficient work is required. We couldn't achieve our goal of saving publishers time and money while affidavits still had to be manually processed. For those of you who are unfamiliar with our affidavit automation service, here's a quick overview of how it works. First, your customer places a notice in your newspaper through Column, and then the notice runs in the paper. After the publication date, you share your e-edition with us by either emailing it to us, uploading it to Column, or through a file transfer protocol or FTP feed, where we will receive it automatically. Column then matches all of the notices submitted for that publication date against what we receive in the e-edition to verify that the notices ran. When the notice is verified, it will also show up in the activity log so your customers can see the notice as it was published. Finally, the affidavit is automatically generated and is handed over to our notary team, where it is signed and notarized on your behalf. Within just 2 business days, your customer is notified that their affidavit is ready to download from Column. Since we launched our affidavit service, we've delivered hundreds of affidavits in 8 states for 11 newspapers, helping them create significant efficiency gains. We have more information about how our affidavit service works linked below. Please reach out if you have any questions or would like to get started using Column's affidavit automation. Next, I'm going to pass it over to Casey to discuss a new offering for government users.
Thanks, Frances. Hi, everyone. I'm Casey, and I work on the product team here at Column. So we've heard from publishers that completing affidavits is like an arts and crafts project. Well, government staffers have their own version, which is sending notices by mail. Beyond just placing a notice in a newspaper, governments sometimes need to notify constituents of hearings and important community updates by mail. This includes printing, stuffing, addressing, and stamping envelopes to every household and business in a certain location. While talking with government users, we learned that this was a huge opportunity to help them save time and energy by using technology to streamline what would otherwise be a manual process. When a government user places their notice in the newspaper, they now have the option to also mail letters to property owners with Column's Notice by Mail tool. This completely eliminates the hassle of stuffing envelopes by hand and stressing about getting letters mailed on time. So how does it work? Well, when placing a public notice, users will be able to select if they would also like to send out letters along with placing that notice. Then they can simply upload the document for the letter to be mailed, the addresses they need to mail to, and some other basic information, and then continue placing their notice. After submitting, Column will send a confirmation email that we've received the mail order and then get right on sending out the letters while providing users with comprehensive updates every step of the way. If you're interested in learning more about how Notice by Mail works, check out our blog post linked below. Next, I'm going to pass things over to Kevin Richmond to share another new offering we've launched for government users.
Thanks, Casey. I'm Kevin Richmond. I'm the head of customer experience at Column. Before Column, I worked at the U.S. General Services Administration, which is the acquisition arm for the federal government, and I was helping primarily with IT acquisition, both at the federal government as well as state and local entities. As a member of GSA, I was engaged in the specific and often very highly regulated process of procurement. For those who don't know, procurement is the process by which government, from the federal level all the way down to the county or town, hires companies to do work for their community in a fair, equitable, and transparent manner. This can include anything from repaving sidewalks to major IT software purchases to help organize county court records. The goal of this process is simple: to choose a vendor that will lead to the best outcomes for our community. But this process isn't without challenges. One of the many challenges procurement officials face is managing the distribution of bid information and keeping all interested parties informed as information changes, such as issuing addendums to plan holders. Currently, a lot of local governments send out bid packages over email, in physical paper format, or even by hosting it in their plans at the local office. This creates a situation where the management of the process, like managing incoming bid requests and keeping track of plan holders' names and contact information, becomes more cumbersome than the selection process itself and can create unsatisfactory outcomes for the community. This is where Column can help. We have launched a new product feature called Column Plan Rooms. When a request for proposal notice is placed by a government user, governments can now use Column to distribute bid information, manage plan holder lists, organize incoming bids, and keep track of everything in a streamlined and compliant environment. So how does it work? Column Plan Room provides users with an online plan room where governments can upload all the details and documents related to their project and allow prospective bidders the ability to easily access these documents and submit bids. Have an addendum? No problem. Column can keep track of your plan holders and distribute any addendums. This completely eliminates the need for physical papers for the project, saves government time and money, and allows your governments to focus on what matters, making the best choice for their community. We've made it simple to create a plan room. Users can simply submit their project information while placing a public notice during the bid package distribution step. This is an additional benefit you can offer your government customers if you're currently using Column to process your public notices, or when you switch to using Column. It is entirely free for both government and the paper and requires no extra work to get set up. With this feature, you're helping your local government run a fair and effective process and ultimately leading to better outcomes for your community. If you're interested in learning more about plan rooms, check out the link that we'll send you at the end of the brief. Next, we're going to pass it back over to Leo, and we're going to take a look at how we're modernizing public notices through Column's API and our new integrations functionality.
All right, thank you, Richmond. In the last brief, we introduced Column's API, the first REST API for getting access to machine-readable public notice data. And in it, we talked about our conviction that in 2022, and now terrifyingly enough, about to be 2023, just hosting a public notice website is not enough. We believe quite strongly that if APIs aren't part of your press association's strategy in the upcoming session, they should be. And if you don't know how to make that happen, we want to help. So I'd like to highlight one of the first major applications of the API that we've seen over this past quarter, which is in collaboration with the Arizona Newspapers Association. So as it stands today, the Arizona city clerks do not have real-time data feeds on the number of foreclosures, probates, or LLC formations that are happening in their local communities. But as we all know, that information is actually contained in public notice data. So right now, we do host a public notice site in Arizona where you could go to the side and toggle and select the notice type and see the number of foreclosures. But again, it's not in a format that would actually let them answer questions like, are there more businesses being created this year as opposed to last? Are there more foreclosures happening? Are there things happening in my community that matter? So we have partnered with the ANA here and with the city clerks to offer this information in real time through Column's API. And we've demonstrated interest here in Arizona, but we have conviction that this is going to become relevant across a lot of the states that we work with. And I am really excited to replicate this in the upcoming quarter. So without further ado here, I'm now going to pass it over to Jake Seaton to talk about another exciting development on the product side. Jake, please take it away.
Hey everyone, and thanks Leo. My name is Jake Seaton. I'm the founder and CEO here at Column. And I originally started this company to help my family's newspapers provide their customers among governments, lawyers, and citizens with a great experience that would add value back to the public notice process. And as we've scaled Column's collaborative self-serve solution to the hundreds of newspapers in communities that now use it every single day, We've realized that placement in the newspaper is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. And as you can see from our announcements about affidavits, mailings, plan rooms, and more, we've been tackling every opportunity that we see to solve problems in this ecosystem head on. We've also encountered a fourth segment of public notice customers beyond governments, lawyers, and private parties that until now our platform has never quite delighted in the same way that it has all of the others. And those are public notice placement agencies that place large numbers of notices with large numbers of newspapers across a large number of counties or states. Sometimes these agencies are affiliated with specific newspapers or even with specific law firms. And sometimes they do everything by hand or have built their own technology to automate the process of placing and communicating with the large number of newspapers they work with, who have historically done everything by hand. So as newspapers have introduced automation into this process via Column's technology, that has initially been disruptive to those agencies' workflows as the systems that they use were not connected to their internal tooling. And we're excited to end an incredible year at Column with the launch of Column for Agencies, which we believe will make this concern a thing of the past. Column now integrates directly into the underlying software systems that placement agencies use in order to facilitate the notice process across a wide range of papers on behalf of their clients. For example, a newspaper partner using Column in New York State recently approached us about providing a direct integration for Registered Agents Incorporated, a business that provides incorporation services to companies and as a result becomes responsible for and handles a massive volume of LLC and fictitious business notices as auxiliary to their core business. Prior to Column, registered agents had been really dissatisfied with the workflow options that were available to them in New York State to facilitate the hundreds of notices that they place every week. And the amount of work that manual submission to newspapers created for them was a massive pain point. So over the past few months, we've worked with this newspaper and with Registered Agents Incorporated to build a direct integration between their internal tooling and the newspaper's Column account. Since Column is already integrated into that newspaper's advertising backend, whenever Registered Agents receives a notice that they are eligible to publish, it gets inserted directly into that paper without either of them having to lift a finger. And so while this feature is still in beta, we believe that Column for Agencies is going to have a significant impact on the way that high volume customers engage with your Column portal and will help our newspaper partners retain and grow their public notice revenue as a result of that improved experience. So what does this mean for newspapers? Well, first of all, you can now confidently roll out Column's self-serve product to 100% of your public notice volume and be confident that doing so will create a delightful and efficient experience for your
All right. Well, I think we had a slightly frozen Jake there, but I am going to finish out on his end there of we're really excited about this new feature and we're actively looking for new partners who want to test out these new integrations for agencies because we think it's really one of the most important value props that we can start bringing to some of these high volume clients. But with that, that is all that we have for you today here with the brief. And we are thrilled to have had this opportunity to share some of the things that we've been up to over this past quarter and this past year with you. If you've been interested in anything that's been mentioned today, take a look at some of the information that should be on your page right now. And also you're going to get as a follow-up via email. And importantly, we hope that everyone has an excellent holiday season and excellent new year. Thanks everybody for joining.